Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Reimagine 2020, our virtual conference series brought to you by MouseBelt and Multi.io. I'm Ashlie, one of your co-hosts, and I'm here today with Lou Kerner for version 4 of our conference, Tales from the Crypto, our special Halloween edition. Hi, Lou. How are you doing?
Great, Ashlie. Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So Lou, you've been on the show a couple times. So for anyone just tuning in, head on over to our Reimagine 2020 YouTube page. You can find Lou's previous interviews there. You're the founder of Crypto Mondays, came on to talk about community. You're the founder of JustStable and came on to talk about DeFi and stablecoins. For anyone who hasn't been introduced to you yet, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your latest project, Blockchain Coinvestors?
Okay, sure. So just real quick, I was on Wall Street for the first part of my career as an equity analyst. I started a couple of digital companies, was angel investing, became a VC in 2012 with a small fund. And I saw the crypto light on June 29th, 2017. I've been 24/7 crypto ever since. I started to launch a crypto fund, and we raised a few $1,000,000. We were going to do a large security token offering, but then crypto winter came, and there were no large VCs in crypto to be starting. But I'd started Crypto Monday, which is one of the largest crypto meetups in the world. We've had Crypto Mondays in 57 cities around the world. Today, I'm spending a lot of my time on stablecoins, but I'm also at heart a VC. I've been an advisor to a company called Blockchain Coinvestors. And Blockchain Coinvestors is a crypto fund of funds. So we're not a VC fund, but we raise money. Last year was our first fund. We raised $8 million. And then we take that money and we invest it in crypto VCs. So we invested in 12 different crypto VCs in our first fund. And now we're raising our second fund, which we're targeting $50 million raise. And we'll spread that probably across 16 different crypto VCs. We're going to invest a little bit more in Asia, a lot going on in Asia. And also in partnership, we just started a crypto syndicate because of the close relationships we have with all of the top crypto VCs in the world. We have access to tremendous deal flow. And so we're going to make that available to the community via AngelList. And we just recently started the Blockchain Co-Investors syndicate on AngelList. We look forward to bringing our first deal to market next week.
Wow, well, that's really exciting. Congratulations with all that progress and your successful raise. As you may know, MouseBelt Blockchain Accelerator, we are venture capital investors looking for early stage companies to get involved in. What is like the investment philosophy of blockchain investors? Are there particular projects you're looking for? Are you mostly interested in investing like directly into tokens and cryptocurrencies, or are there particular use cases that are really exciting you and your other investors?
Sure. So I think one of the things we're most excited about are projects that are going up and to the right. It's very early days, obviously, in crypto, and particularly at the early stage, like you talked about. You're generally not having companies go up and to the right. The great thing about AngelList is AngelList, because you get syndicate backers. So right now, Blockchain Co-Investors Syndicate has about 125 backers. And we bring a deal to them, and then our backers decide whether they want to invest or not. They actually all see themselves as VCs as well. And so we're providing deal flow to them, and they decide whether they want to invest or not. But as opposed to when you raise a traditional VC fund and you have to go to your backers of a traditional VC fund and say, here's what we're going to do. When you're running a syndicate, you can be much broader and you can change and evolve as the market changes and evolve. So, we're going to get involved. My hope is in a whole bunch of different areas over time as crypto continues to evolve. But the projects that we're most excited about today, are largely in the DeFi space, and and companies that are enabling the actual usage, and seeing usage of crypto.
Absolutely. So given your experience in other markets before jumping into crypto in 2017 and using tools like AngelList and having syndicates, your experience investing, what are some of the differences that you see between being a VC in other markets and being a crypto VC?
Well, yeah, here in the U.S., I mean, there so much of what goes on here in the U.S. is driven by regulations, and the regulations have not been friendly. So, I think a lot more of investing, even from crypto VCs in the U.S., is investing in companies that are overseas, that are in Europe or in Asia, where the regulatory environment is much friendlier. Yeah, and I think we're still at that stage though, where things can grow very fast and see valuations grow very, very fast. So it's an incredibly exciting time, and I think we're at the very beginning of the second bull market, at least in the time that I've been in crypto. And generally, every bull market dwarfs the previous bull market. So I think we're going to be in for a very, very exciting 2021, 2022.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of energy and excitement right now. Bitcoin price is going up. I've heard you talk in previous interviews about kind of the internet boom and how these DeFi projects, what you're going to see is the Netscape effect, right? That its adoption is really low right now. It's a very emerging technology, but when kind of that switch happens where it's just more accessible, you see it go 10x, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, I mean, and it's impossible, right? Nobody has a crystal ball. So nobody knows what the event is or what the product is that is going to make the growth in crypto go from, it's growing nice and steady, but at some point it's going to take a hockey stick up, and the whole world is going to wake up and say, oh my God, like they did with the internet, when as the Netscape browser was introduced, and the number of internet sites, again, which had been growing very slowly, just started going up and to the right, and did so for many years. They really
Absolutely.
started a massive, like 6-year bull run.
Absolutely. And I've also heard you speak before about this like regulatory environment. And before we started the interview, you said you spend a lot of time in Asia, in normal circumstances, are doing a lot of traveling. Really looking forward to doing that again once things open up a bit more. And just the unfortunate fact that because of the regulatory environment in the US, that we're going to start getting left behind as far as these things go. And we've seen just in the last few weeks, right? BitMEX getting slapped with the lawsuit. John McAfee finally got arrested. Ripple is threatening to leave the US because of regulatory concerns. So maybe you could just speak a little bit to what you're seeing as far as, or maybe what you think should happen for the US to be able to compete, or if it's just kind of always gonna lag behind now.
It's hard to know. I don't spend a lot of my time thinking about regulations because it's not something I can impact. But certainly, we're seeing, kind of the latest thing that I think is most worrisome, not necessarily for the crypto industry, but for the United States, is we're falling behind on central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Everything's getting digitized. Money's getting digitized. China just rolled out their CBDC to 50,000 people in Shenzhen, and they gave all of them $30 free. And almost all of the money was spent in the first week, and then people started topping up their wallets again. So it's happening in China. It's happening today. And, and I think that, a lot of our ability as a country to fund our massive, massive deficit is the fact that the US dollar is the reserve currency of the world. And I think that central bank digital currencies are going to shift that. And if we don't have one, out in the market, we're going to be left behind. And it's just very, very sad. And I think, we're also seeing, our regulatory environment companies like Ripple leaving, or companies, some of the smartest people, have left the United States and, and started companies like, FTX, which started in Asia, because you can't start a company like that here in the US.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's the way it is. If you don't have, even I think what would be helpful, something that, our CTO at MouseBelt has talked about before is regulatory sandboxes. Like, the government should take an interest in innovation and see like potential and create, an environment where people can experiment and not worry and learn about these tools and create things that will be of value to our country in a safe way. But we're not quite there yet, I guess.
No, I mean, there's a sandbox going on in Wyoming. So, they're doing some interesting work in Wyoming. What Kate Long is doing is really awesome. But that still, you can't take what's going on in Wyoming and bring it to the rest of the United States yet. So while it's having an impact, I don't think it's having a significant impact yet. And I don't know what will. We have so many problems, obviously as a country. My guess is our leaders aren't spending a lot of time thinking about crypto, other
For
than throwing
sure.
people in jail.
For sure.
Right. And if a company with the massive resources of Ripple, right? I mean, if Ripple, with all of their lawyers that they have on staff, and I can't imagine how many, millions and millions, probably tens of millions of dollars Ripple has spent on legal fees. And if after spending all that money, they still can't, come close to getting the regulations that they need to operate, that's not great for the United States.
No. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing all of your thoughts on that. And it was great to hear updates about what your newest ventures are and blockchain investors, co-investors. To move on to like the next topic, with all of your experience in community, building communities, having meetups, meeting people all over the world who are interested in crypto, coming from Wall Street background, having kind of two totally different careers. I think you have a lot of insight to give the people or the audience that I'm usually speaking to, which is university students. So I'm the head of education over at MouseBelt. We have a university program that has engaged with students from 100 different schools in 24 countries. And what would you say to students who are just getting interested in crypto or blockchain about maybe how they should approach it, whether or not they should pursue it as a career, what the best way to get involved is?
Yeah, well, I think, just when you're thinking about your career, what I wish somebody had told me early on is, I think probably the most important thing when you're thinking about your career is to get involved in an industry that's going up and to the right, that's growing. Traditional finance is growing, but at a very, very slow rate. But if you believe in crypto and you think that this is a future, like obviously you and I do, then what you get involved with first actually it isn't even all that important, because you're probably not going to be there too long. But as this industry starts to take off, the amount of opportunities is going to be incredible. And if you're at a company you like, if the company's not growing, there's not a lot of chance for advancement. But if your company is growing by leaps and bounds, then there's massive opportunity for advancement. So, what I tell, when I talk to younger folks and give them advice, I'm just saying, figure out a way to get your foot in the door. Read as much as you can, get as smart about the areas of crypto that you're excited about as you possibly can. So when you go into a job interview or get opportunities, to talk to people, they can see that, oh, wow, this is somebody who maybe they haven't worked in it, but they're reading a lot, they understand what's going on. Create your own opportunity and just get in and go for the ride. Because, I think this is, similar to how the internet is, been an amazing ride for 20 years now, 25 years since the browser Netscape was introduced. I think that's the run that crypto is going to be on.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're saying if you want to get involved in industries that have a rapid amount of growth, because in, like, let's say traditional finance, because it's growing but slower pace, you might end up in a position where you don't have the opportunity to move up as quickly. Maybe you're kind of stuck at that more entry
Exactly.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great advice for our students. As far as the reading, I'm a was a university professor in my past life. So before getting into blockchain, I was teaching a lot, and so when I got tapped to start a university program, which was great because I love working with students, and I get to speak to students all day now, and really driven by seeing how excited they are, and being able to facilitate opportunities for them to, get internships, get connected with the people that I know. But when I needed to dive into blockchain, of course, the first thing I did was buy a book. And turned it into a homework assignment. And yeah, so I definitely recommend that to people, right? Just read as much as possible. I started with the the future of everything, or the truth machine, the blockchain and the future of everything. And there's a quote in it that I always tell my students, which is blockchain as an industry, just the nature of the technology necessitates input from everybody. We can't build these products the way that they need to be built, or in ways that align with the principles of decentralization and censorship resistance, or whatever the values you see in, like, crypto communities, without psychologists, philosophers. So it's not necessarily technical people. So that is always kind of my advice to students, because not everybody is an engineer, right? Um, but there is a big gap in blockchain development education, and so that's kind of where we're trying to fit in, and get students more interested in blockchain development. But there's also so many opportunities outside of being a technical person. I mean, I don't know about yourself, but I'm not a developer.
No, I'm not a technical person either. I think also, in addition to reading, for me personally, I find I do the best learning actually when I'm writing. There's a great quote by William Faulkner, which is, "I don't know what I think of anything until I read what I've written about it." And so that's another. Not only is it a great way to learn, and I write to learn. I'm a very active blogger. But the great thing is, and in addition to learning, once in a while, you'll write something and it'll go viral. Not very often. It's lightning in a bottle. You never know when it's going to happen. But writing obviously is also great for building your brand.
Yeah, I think that would be some good advice for students as well, right? We talked about, learning as much as possible, and maybe even learning by writing, but it's also just get out there and do it. And so what I get to see is students who start clubs on their campus, and then they have that on their resume, right? That they were the founder of their blockchain club. So when they go looking for jobs, this is somebody who has dedicated time to actually doing the work of learning about this and teaching other people. And a lot of these students are starting newsletters. And so, yeah, for any students tuning in, if you're looking for educational resources on blockchain, obviously check out MouseBelt University. But as me and Lou would advise you, get out there and do something, and start a newsletter on your campus, start blogging about blockchain, and that will really set you apart when it comes to graduation time, and looking for internships and jobs in the space. Any other advice or
Yeah, and
points for
even if,
students?
yeah, a lot of people don't want to write. I've seen a number of people just develop huge brands just from tweeting about crypto, right? If you stay on top of it, and you're able to find a niche in crypto, right? The idea is what can you do well? What do you enjoy doing? Right? That's I think also so important is if you don't really enjoy it, then it's going to be hard to get excited and want to spend all the time that it takes to get really good at something.
Yeah, I think that would be my advice as well, that whatever it is that you're good at, hone those skills and then turn them towards blockchain and crypto, because you know, we need crypto lawyers. We need, if you're interested in the nonprofit space, I did a great I've done a couple interviews with people in the past, a UNICEF, a guy who works at UNICEF, a woman who now started a blockchain center at University of Arkansas, who was working in nonprofits before, and you know, donor tracking, donation tracking, right? All these different possibilities. Pretty much every industry is going to start incorporating blockchain, and a lot of these enterprise companies, you know, we have some partners on the MouseBelt side, from Coca-Cola and Anheuser-Busch, all these supply chain and logistics, Visa and MasterCard, they have blockchain teams, and right now they're small, you know, maybe 5 people, or they have an innovation team, but like, you can be the blockchain expert in a non-blockchain company. So I just think there's so many opportunities, and whatever you're good at, if you can educate yourself on blockchain, that kind of gives you a niche, right?
Exactly, exactly. I know, somebody, some people who've done amazing things starting meetups in crypto, and then the meetup blows up, and then and then they're a person in in crypto where they are. So it's such a community-based thing. Anything you can do to help educate the community, to help bring the community together, I think are all very beneficial, both for the community and for the people who do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving some advice and some perspectives to our student audience. You know, we have a large amount of the viewers tuning in are coming from our university program. Uh, to wrap up a bit, it's almost Halloween. A lot of us are still stuck at home. You know, not really safe to have our traditional Halloween parties, so we thought we would do a Halloween special for Reimagine 2020, Tales from the Crypto. So to go with the spooky theme, I'm wondering about some scary stories, or if you have some insight as to what do you think is the scariest thing about traditional finance?
For me, in my own personal experience, the scariest thing for me, which preceded was 3 months before I saw the crypto light, and I've been 24/7 ever since. It was June 29th, 2017. And what happened 3 months before that is, I've been married for 20 years. I've been working for 30 years. And, one day I wake up and I'm served. My wife wanted a divorce, but I wasn't upset for wanting a divorce. We didn't, we'd had a good run, and it was over. But she had gotten a lawyer, as most people do when they want to get divorced. And they were able to attach all of my assets, my bank accounts, my stock accounts, my account at Coinbase, and I lost all access to all of the capital that I had worked 30 years to build. And I don't know if that helped me see the crypto light, but I got to tell you, it didn't hurt having that experience. So that the saying in crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. Obviously, by definition, then everything that you have in traditional finance is really not yours if somebody wants to take it.
Absolutely. And I think we talked a bit before the interview about that concept of not your keys, not your crypto. One of the kind of scary things about blockchain, I think freedom can be kind of frightening, because then you're responsible for everything that you do. And so with these freedoms that crypto allows, you also have an increased sense of responsibility to manage your keys, take better steps in securing your devices, all of that kind of stuff. So that can be scary.
No, very scary. And look, there's no panacea, right? You're trading one set of risks for another set of risks. And with regards to your keys, because I'm a guy in crypto, and I'm out there and such. So people want to get my keys, and the easiest way for people to potentially get my keys is to SIM swap. Take the SIM card and get AT&T to move my phone to their phone by via a SIM swap. And I've been SIM swapped 15 times. So now luckily,
15
obviously I'm
times.
not an idiot. So yes. So I don't keep my keys. Just FYI, if anybody listening, my keys are not on my phone. So no need to SIM swap me or anything else of value. Right. But it's funny to think about, in this day and age, what's true for everybody is, we all guard our Social Security so closely. We don't want anybody to know that. But in fact, the thing that's scariest to give people, that everybody gives everybody, is your phone number. Because most people, everything they have is on this. And everybody you give your phone number to is now in a position to SIM swap you.
Yeah, it was, I think probably a lot of people in the crypto world are a little more educated than the average person on security and things like that. But I mean, only recently did I, learn that how easy it is to SIM swap. I think there are a lot of people out there still who don't know what swapping is, and don't know how easy it is. Don't know how they should have all of their two-factor authentications turned on and all of that. So, we are, our audience is both for crypto natives and newbies. So any newbies tuning in, heed our cautionary tales, our scary stories here, and, educate yourself on cybersecurity and your personal security, and learn a lesson from Lou, who's been SIM swapped 15 times. I honestly can't believe that. That is a lot. So,
yeah, and one of my funny stories, like the 10th time I SIM swap, because then you either got to go into a phone store. If you're not near one, you have to call up the phone company and work your way up to somebody who can help you. And I got into a massive argument the 10th time when I told them I was SIM swap, and the person who was helping me told me, no, that can't happen. Right? Even people at the phone company don't know that SIM swapping is a thing.
yeah, scary.
It is scary.
So, some scary things about traditional finance, or the financial world right now. What do you think that the powers that be, or traditional finance, or banks, should be afraid of when it comes to blockchain? I mean, obviously they are scared, right? We just talked about some of the regulatory news coming out in the US. This is obviously a threat. So what do you think the people who are cracking down so hard on crypto, what are they most afraid of?
They're, I think, just afraid of the power shift, right? The people in power want things to stay the same so that they can continue to hold the power. And the truth is, if you're a bank today, crypto is still so small that you really don't have to give it a lot of attention. It's really not a threat today. You really have to be forward thinking as a banking executive to see, yes, that this is the future. But if you're a bank, what you want to do, just like, if you were AT&T when, they opened up in a long distance, and anybody, could, AT&T wanted to stop that, as long as they could, because the moment it was open, their market share started plummeting. And so, that's what the banks are doing. The banks are leveraging one of the competitive advantages they have, which is, that they all have lots and lots of lobbyists in Washington who can, try and slow this inevitability from happening. And while they may be helping their company, they're really hurting the country.
Absolutely. Definitely feel like they're afraid of a power change, right? That the world is changing, people are taking their power back, and there's going to be resistance. And that's just the kind of the way of markets and of governments. but it's an exciting time. We're really looking forward to this next year, this bull run that's ramping up. What else are you most looking forward to as the year kind of comes to an end for the rest of quarter 4?
Yeah, as I think you had mentioned earlier on, I'm spending the majority of my time now in the stablecoin space, just because I think it's a massive. If you think about just the U.S. dollar, not even any of the other currencies, or you could have a stablecoin based on commodities or basically pegged to anything. But just looking at the U.S. dollar, that alone at the most basic level, M2, is a $20 trillion market. So it's a bigger than any other market that anybody will tell you about. And not only is it massive, but it's grown by 25% this year. So it's a massive market that's growing rapidly. That you had a monopoly up until very recently. The U.S. government was the only person who could print a dollar. Now, effectively, almost anybody can write a protocol and start, manufacturing dollars like Maker does with Dai. So, I think and not only has this monopoly been broken up, but it's also there hasn't been any technological improvement in money. It's been so minimal for 200 years, and now, oh my God, I think money is going to be reimagined, in a way. And when we think of money in 5 years, it is going to be completely different. We're going to think about it completely different than what we think about it today. So it's just an incredibly fun, fascinating, and I think remunerative a place to be in crypto.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lou, for joining us for another of our Reimagine 2020 virtual conference series. This has been version 4, Tales of the Crypto. And yeah, just thank you for having us, and we'll be back with more.
Okay, terrific. Always a blast. See you, Ashlie.